We're still processing Sherrone Moore's firing, but things took a dark turn after that. We're going to break down the latest right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to all of our everydayers who check out the show every single day. Thank you for making us your first listen. We very much appreciate that. Yesterday was a bit of an emotional show, not very structured, a lot of repetition as I was processing a lot of the information. Now, obviously, knew the general what have you, as we discussed on yesterday's show, but did not have any evidence to be able to speak about it here on this show. It was just a lot of hearsay. He said, she said it up until yesterday. So let's break down fact from fiction. On one end, we're going to start there and try to get down to the bottom of it. We're going to talk about Sherrone Moore and his arrest. As well, everything that's kind of happened there. And then we'll get into some coaching candidates and things. We'll actually get into a little bit of that football part. The 5 guys that I would go after, a little more than 5, but nonetheless. So that's the plan for today. Everything I said yesterday holds true. So we'll start there. But as I said, I started having some inklings last year summer. That's not anything like liking girls' Instagram posts, whether it's someone close to me or not, that doesn't really, that's not fireable, but it does kind of speak to who you are. You have that. Then you have the stuff that I started hearing after the USC game. Again, that's a hard thing to prove, and we try to operate in the facts of things on this show as much as we can. And we more so dispel rumors when we know that they aren't real. There's a reason why we didn't dispel the rumors as they were circulating. You see a lot of different kind of things now in the aftermath of what everything was. Again, we're not mentioning names beyond Sherrone Moore here. There are reasons for that. I'm not saying that people are wrong about them, but we don't need to create more of a circus than what it already is. But nonetheless, I don't know that there's a lot of things that I can come and dispel. But one of the things that I will kind of start with is this idea that Michigan sat on the story. And once they lost to Ohio State, then it was suddenly, okay, now what can we do to put things in motion? And I understand that that's the optics. Like, can we sign our class and then we'll figure it out from there? I understand that's what the optics look like, but everything I've been told, and I'll give you some timelines here, indicate that that's not what was happening. So I started to first hear that there were some donors who were very antsy about all of this going into the Washington game, meaning like the day of the Washington game, talking to some people on the ground. There were some donors that were starting to be like, this is what's happening. We need to get this guy out. So that's kind of when it started, from not when it started overall, but that's when I became aware that there was a push from people to get to the bottom of it and to come up with evidence to get to the day that we arrived at yesterday. And that yesterday, and John U. Bacon had his own report on this. They can back it up. Yesterday was the first time that Michigan actually had the evidence in hand and was able to say, okay, now we're doing it, right? But before yesterday, they didn't have evidence. Again, you can only go on so much, right? This isn't like a bank robbery with cameras and paper trails and, marked bills and things of that nature, right? You're not going to fire your head coach based off of a rumor. Certainly, that's just not what's going to happen. So you had to have evidence, and that's kind of when they started. And I know that amped up leading into the Ohio State game. And I believe it was the Monday of the week of the game. It was Monday or Tuesday, I believe, the week of the game, not the week before. And I'm trying to get my memory right here. But that there was a group of donors who had hired lawyers, maybe private investigators. I'm kind of trying to figure that out, to try to drum up evidence with the idea that, not drum up in terms of like create, but drum up in terms of actually procuring actual evidence, with the idea that regardless of what had happened in the Ohio State game, that Michigan would depart with Sherrone Moore after the season. Now, I had kind of believed, based off of just Michigan's actions, that they had not gotten that. And that proves correct in terms of there is no world in which Michigan is allowing Sherrone Moore to hire Kerry Combs or have a press conference on Monday, appear on the teleconference or the Zoom conference for the Citrus Bowl, and all of that kind of stuff earlier in the week. That none of that would have happened if Michigan was like, we've got the goods, we're just kind of biding our time, right? So there's that. So what changed? I do believe that the girl stepped up, and that's kind of part of what John U. Bacon had said. I had heard about 2 weeks ago-ish, so around the same time, that her dad had gotten involved in this. So that once that happened, that became a little bit more clear that they were maybe going to have her support in one way or another as far as coming clean about this whole scenario. But outside of those things that I just said, yeah, I've heard a lot of the things that are rumors out there. Again, none of them have come to light. Like we've reached kind of the point, unlike the whole Connor Stallion Signgate thing, where I was talking directly with Connor and knew more than, we still have, not even really talked about fully, but like knew more. This is a different scenario, kind of where it's like, okay, I had a baseline understanding of what this was. And there's more rumors out there, but nothing like egregious compared to what we've already heard, which is already very egregious. This is a scenario where it's like, okay, now we all kind of know the same thing as far as what the facts are, but we don't need to go further, right? Like there's the mugshot that's circulating. I mean, you can tell that's AI. He's in jail. We're going to talk about that momentarily, but like he's in jail, but it's pretty clear that that's not really like his picture. You can tell by like his birthmarks aren't on the picture. It's not so pixelated that it wouldn't have those. How would someone procure that about the time that he was being processed? All that kind of stuff, right? So like we don't need to make extra things up in order to drag Sherrone Moore, because everything that actually is already bad enough. So there's that. But I don't want to even necessarily come as far as to say like good on the athletic department for actually, for doing what it needed to do, right? Like this is Chris Rock, like you're supposed to type of stuff, right? Like I raise my kids. Well, you're supposed to, my head coach is philandering with someone within the athletic department. Well, yeah, you're supposed to fire that person as soon as you actually have proof, which is what they did. But I'm not going to go as far as to defend anything there. And it's not just because I want to come at them, like I know a lot of people are, but it's also because we don't really have all the facts yet as far as, what did they have? What didn't they have? What did they know? How provable was it? At the same time, I think a lot of heads are going to roll. Because as much as I love Ward, I know I'm in a minority there, but as much as I do, it's like, there was a lot of, like I said yesterday, a lot of vetting that didn't happen. There've been a lot of incidents with coaches in Ann Arbor on his watch. And regardless, it kind of becomes, if nothing else, regardless of, hey, what do you expect him to do? Which would be like the Ward apologist side of it. What do you expect him to do? All of these things happening on his watch, things that have not happened in Ann Arbor, then like you just, at some point you have to look and say like, okay, well, it's kind of like Jim Harbaugh getting punished for Connor Stallions and Signgate, right? Like at some point, like there is some culpability. So I'm not going to go one way and saying like, hey, this is a scenario where what do you expect him to do? And they acted correctly when presented with evidence. I'm also not going to say either like, hey, it's, it's all good in the hood here either. At this point, kind of like I said with the football program, minus a couple people, minus maybe like Tony Alford, Lamar Morgan, and I've got love for a lot of these guys, right? Lou Esposito, Wink Martindale. I really do love these guys. That said, like, I kind of feel like a house cleaning is in order, and it starts at the very top, right? Like they need a cleansing in Ann Arbor to get past a lot of these things. And it's, I think it doesn't tarnish the championship. It doesn't tarnish Jim Harbaugh's legacy, but it kind of starts with a lot of the people he brought in. I mean, heck, the co-offensive coordinators for Michigan in 2022 are now under Matt Weiss is currently free, but like essentially under lock and key. That's a failure on the part of the athletic department, right? It is. So you've got to figure some things out if you're Michigan, because it's, like I said yesterday, it's beyond an embarrassment, and it continues to get more embarrassing. Let's talk about the arrest. Let's talk about more of that. And we're going to do so here in just a moment. But before we do, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heats up. I was going to say that, but anyway. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thank you for making Locked On Wolverines your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Wolverines with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all just for $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonwolverines.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Kind of hilarious yesterday, best laid plans. I tweeted about, an hour before the show that I was going to take yesterday off and I was going to push to Saturday in the aftermath of we were going to have availability with some players at Somerset Mall. I don't know if that's going to happen, what's going to happen as far as that's concerned on Saturday. And then it was like, best laid plans, no day off, which is fine. It's good. I've never, and I apologize for yesterday for just being so erratic. I mean, I've never seen as many, because we hit record on this show about 10 minutes after the news dropped, right? So I've never gotten as many phone calls or texts in my life. It was insane. I'm sure you heard a bit of it on whether you're watching or listening. Absolutely nuts. And it just continued. And shout out to those of you who gave tips. I heard from one listener and two different colleagues that there was some kind of criminal element that was happening before, about an hour before it kind of hit the public that Sherrone Moore was in police custody. That's where the sad gets sadder. And you hate to see kind of just all of it, I don't want to minimize anything here. And, this is, as some have said, an all-time crash out. We talked about Sherrone really wasting like a golden ticket opportunity, and it just got worse, right? Like before the crash out, I mean, he was already pretty close to unhireable, still under a show cause for the deleting of the text messages. Didn't exactly show the coaching bona fides that made you feel like, okay, like if not Michigan, some other school's gonna, he was already gonna have an uphill battle. Being not just a head coach, but a position coach after everything. And now this crash out, you just hope for him and his family's sake that he's okay. I do want to add one thing here, and this is my own failing, and I know this is going to alienate those of you who hate when I hate that I wear Jesus is King hats and all this stuff. But I haven't been praying for Sherrone and the woman involved and the family and all, like I've been praying a little bit for the family, but I think we need to be praying for all involved, right? Like everybody, pray for repentance, which repentance doesn't mean, oh, I feel so sorry. It means to change your mind is what it literally means. But pray for peace and everything for Kelly Moore and family, and pray for repentance for the other parties. It's a disastrous situation, and it went from disastrous to traumatic for the other party. I'm struggling to not say her name, but for the other party, and definitely for Sherrone's wife, and subsequently, I mean, the children are young, but it's turned from a punchline to something much worse and much more dangerous. And I don't know that we've ever seen anything like it in the sports world. Not like this. Like, yeah, we've seen like those moments where you have the NFL guys who like assault someone. There's, the elevator incident with Ray Rice, or, there's obviously things have gotten much more salacious. What's the name of the tight end from Florida? It was with the New England Patriots, named Aaron Hernandez. Is that it? Like there have been worse stories overall. But this went from being like a punchline type of story. Like, yes, it was going to be bad and traumatic for Sherrone's family, but now it's just worse. And number one, it's sad to see some rivals, as far as the fans and media and former players and things of that, for like try to turn it even to more of a punchline. And for those, they're going to say like, oh, but you, like, not me personally, certainly not me personally. I'm sure there will be people that will come into the comments and be like, oh, but you made fun of Mel Tucker and all this. Like, no, we didn't do that on the show. We didn't take it as comedy fodder, right? Like this is the point I made then is the point I'm going to make now, is some things go beyond, in my eyes, the constraint of like rivalry fodder. And then some things are just horrific or sad or heartbreaking. And like the Mel Tucker thing was that, right? Like the Penn State stuff from way back in the day was that. I even think like the circumstances with the Ohio State stuff, like with the turn from Urban Meyer and everything, like it could have been that's one where I feel like we don't really have all of the facts either. But I don't think that these are the types of things, and this is why I talk about glass houses and everything. Like, if anyone here watching or listening wants to like put your chin up above someone else and say like, but Michigan is pristine and wonderful, better than everyone else. Like, this is proof positive that it doesn't take long for, even if it was before, which it wasn't, for it to not be that. So, things change in this modern world, and not for the better. So you have to imagine that like whatever you consider to be your high and mighty idol is going to come crashing down at some point. It is. And this is not exculpatory for Michigan in any way, shape, or form. It's the opposite. I'm not saying like, oh, but other schools wouldn't. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, like, if you are a rival here to bask in it, like, listen, we didn't do that to you. We're not going to do that to you in situations that are like this. But at the same time, we do want accountability here. And it's one of those things where it's hard for me to conceptualize the aftermath of the firing yesterday, because it's just insane when you think about like not the optics, but just the reality of like Michigan's head coach was fired and now he's in jail. As of right now, he is sitting in jail, not charged with anything as of yet. According to reports, the Washtenaw County prosecutor is still investigating and all of that. But like this is one of the most insane stories that I can recall in sports. And I was close to the Connor Stallion stuff, obviously. Normally he's on this show today. I mean, it's an insane thing. It's not just like a E60 or a 30 for 30. It's different than that. And it's really disappointing is not a strong enough word to describe this. And I am trying to abstain from casting this in a football light, but at the same time, we do have to look at all angles here because all things are true. And when it comes to that, like, it does affect the football of it all. And it's a shocking, sad thing. And you wonder what's going to happen in terms of, like, how is Michigan going to be viewed? How does it dig itself out of I'm not looking at it through a PR lens, but like, this is a stain. And with that, the fact that you had someone that was capable of creating such a stain and not leave gracefully with their, the consequences of their own actions coming to light, right? It's like that meme, me reaping or me sowing. That's what it is. Me sowing. And it's like a bunch of F words, but it's like, yes, F yes. And then it's me sowing WTF, right? Like, that's kind of what happened here, to put it in as light of terms as possible. It's just a shocking turn of events, and just pray. Whether you're a believer in Jesus or not, pray. What harm will it do you that Sherrone gets the help he needs, that he's continued to be held accountable for his own actions, but that he can also continues to get the help he needs, and that his family has peace in the aftermath of this. And my heart goes out to Kelly Moore and her family. So it's a heartbreaking moment. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the who do I think Michigan's going to go after? Where do I think the coaching search stands now? Because it's just wild to be thrust into that here. I don't think anyone really was thinking that about this a week ago. So let's get to that here in just a moment. But before we do, the holidays are officially here. Oops, I forgot this. Okay, the holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every single time. It's not just seeing something you wrap. It's a way to share memories. And me moving, that didn't work. Okay, there we go. Because Aura isn't just your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. My grandma actually has one of these, and not one time goes by that I go to her house that she isn't pointing out pictures on it, talking about memories, how much she loves to picture people in the family, and a heck of a lot more. So you can add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels thoughtful the moment that it's open. The packaging comes gift ready, no price tag, no wrapping needed. It's a huge win. It's the holiday gift that people actually use. It's not just going to get thrown into a closet somewhere. It's great. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code COLLEGE. So remember, Locked On listeners, you get this discount, you get this opportunity first. So be quick, because the frames sell out fast. Order yours, get in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning it at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, so who does Michigan go and get? I mean, clearly it's going to be Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, John Gruden, Brian Kelly. It is funny seeing some of the names that are thrown out there, whether it's by Michigan fans or pundits. Let me save you the headache. That's not happening. All the names I just mentioned. Realistically, I think Michigan's probably, based off of what I've heard. But here's the thing. Let me back it up for a second. I don't think that Michigan is collected well enough at the moment to really like the landscape has changed from even 2 years ago, right? Like Julian Ellison is going to have a say. Nate Forbes is going to have a say, right? Like the people who are the big benefactors of the program are going to have more of a say than they ever have. So I don't know that everyone is collected on the same page, communicating, all of that stuff. Do I think that'll happen? Yes, I think it will. But so I want to preface with that. I don't think like if anyone's saying like yes, Michigan is going after and they have this person, like whatever. I don't think that's accurate. I've seen some, I don't even know how to say it. I'll just say colleagues put out like, oh, Michigan, look, sounds like Michigan's got their guy and has the deal done. Not to call anybody out. Like, no, like they're not, that is not the case. Okay. It's just not. I've talked to enough people to know that that's not anywhere close to the case at all. Even if the Michigan AD was kept in place and it was like, yeah, they know who they want. This is a different world than it was before. And like, okay, yeah, we just went out and got another Brady Hoke type or Rich Rod type. Like that's what the AD plans on doing. And the benefactors of the program hear it and they're like, I don't like it. Like, guess what? That person's not getting hired because now you can't pay the players or maybe the coaches. Right. So anyone who's trying to tell you that they know exactly what's going on is lying to your face. So I just want to make that clear. I had a short list. I had 5 guys on it. Kalen DeBoer. I do believe that Kalen DeBoer is the highest person of interest for the people who are making decisions at the moment. Does that mean that he will end up in Ann Arbor? I don't know. I talked to Greg McElroy on his show earlier today. He said he has a hard time seeing DeBoer. He said this without me saying a name. But he said, like, I have a hard time seeing DeBoer leave Alabama, given just knowing him. And I've seen some, he and his wife love Tuscaloosa. That may or may not be true. Money talks. I think Michigan, for those who think this is going to be the old Michigan, and it's like, well, they're going to try to get a discount. I don't think that's going to happen because, I think the benefactors are going to have a big say. And I just think that they see the moment and from based off of what I've heard and are going to meet the moment. Does that mean going and getting making someone like the highest paid ever from somewhere? No, I don't know about that, but like they're going to meet the moment. But DeBoer would be number 1. I think Jedd Fisch is on that list. Former Michigan pass game coordinator. Good-ish Jedd, if you recall from the, what was that even from? It wasn't from All or Nothing. I don't even know what that was from. I guess it was just a behind the scenes thing that they had in 2016 that came out of the Rutgers game. Clark Lee from Vanderbilt, I think would be a wise look. I also had Rhett Lashley on my list from SMU. He's turned SMU from being like an also ran really since the Pony Express era to having back-to-back 10-3 years, college football playoff team a couple years ago, last year rather. I don't remember who I had last on my list. But like those who are throwing out names of like low level assistants elsewhere, I don't think so. I have a hard time seeing, would Jesse Minter listen if Michigan came calling with a lot of cash? Absolutely. I don't think that they're going to continue to go down the Harbaugh well. I don't. I think that, it just bit Michigan in a big way, kind of twice over, so I just think and I think it's best that you kind of sever those ties at this point. He was only in town for 2 years, but like, I don't see them going from Jim Harbaugh's offensive coordinator and it not working out to the defensive coordinator. I just don't see that happening. I don't think it's going to be Jason Eck from New Mexico. I don't think it's going to be some like hidden gem. Michigan's not the top coaching destination in college football. I know that that's not something a lot of you want to hear, but I'm going to also say the other way that the rivals don't want to hear. It's also not an also ran. This is a job that people will clamor for and would leave their already very good job for. That's 100% what the school is at this, especially at this point with the talent that's there. It's young talent. I know it hasn't been fully realized. There are a lot of people that are going to look at what the roster is at this moment and say, I can make that into a national championship 100%. So I'll be interested to see. I'm personally going to be looking just to see if there's any movement with the DeBoer of it all. We're going to have to wait a little over a week to see what Alabama does against Oklahoma. Let's say that hypothetically they do get something in order, like they can, but he wins that game. And yeah, I know the transfer portal is going to become a more dire circumstance. Like you can get around some of those things by back channeling and getting everybody kind of in the right frame of mind, understanding what the expectations are, where things are. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But first and foremost is getting everybody on the same page. And I don't believe that that's where they're at yet, right? It's not even been 24 hours. So anyway, that's going to do it for us today. Let's actually close this out correctly, unlike the last several times. I don't know why I haven't. But tomorrow, we will definitely have a guest, maybe multiple guests. The idea and the hope, and I'll share it with you now, is that it will be a roundtable with both Jack Tuttle and Connor Stallions. That was going to be the plan for today, but then timing wise called that off and said, okay, we just got to continue reacting solo here, and then we'll start bringing people on. So that's the hope, is that it will be both. If not, it will likely be one or the other. So thank you for watching today. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you again soon. Peace.